My name is Harper. I'm 40 years old and work as a day trader. I trade stocks and currencies from home, and I've made a decent living doing it. People see me as quiet and calm, but strong inside. I was born with a health condition, not life-threatening, but serious enough that I can't have children. My parents always told me the truth about it, and I accepted it early in life. I focused on building a future for myself, learning about money and markets. I thought I had everything under control. Then I met Mason, and everything began to fall apart. Mason was 10 years younger than me. I met him at a restaurant I used to go to after work. He was just an employee at first, but always kind and sweet. Over time, he started talking to me more. Slowly, we got close. At first, I hesitated. I told him I couldn't give him a normal family, especially not children. But he said he didn't care. "I love you, Harper. If I wanted kids, I'd be with someone else." His words touched me deeply. I believed him. We got married 2 years ago. I thought he was genuine. I was wrong. Right after our marriage, Mason quit his job. He said he wanted to help me with everything at home. "You work so hard, Harper. I'll take care of the cooking and cleaning," he said. At first, he really did. The house was always clean. Meals were always hot and tasty. He was good at it, and I appreciated his help. I thought we made a great team. I worked while he handled the house. But slowly, things started to change. He stopped caring. The kitchen got messy. The living room filled with his things. It all happened little by little. Soon, Mason stayed up all night playing games. He slept during the day. I felt like I was living with a child, not a husband. When I spoke up, he'd smile and say, "Just one more level, please." I gave him time, thinking he'd go back to the way he was. But he didn't. He got lazier, colder. He'd leave meals for me but eat alone. The house started to feel empty, even though we were both in it. I missed our conversations, our laughter. I missed him. But when I asked what was wrong, he just said, "Nothing," and left the room. I still tried to make things work. I talked to him calmly, asked him to go back to doing the chores. He agreed. "You're right, Harper. I'll fix things," he said. But even when he started doing chores again, something had changed. He wasn't cheerful anymore. He didn't talk to me. He stayed in his room, playing games. It felt like I was living with a stranger. Every night, he'd say, "I've got an online game appointment. Eat without me." Then he'd lock himself in his room again. I sat at the table alone, the silence louder than his words. This went on for a year. I kept waiting for things to get better, but they didn't. Then one day, everything shattered. Mason walked into the living room and said, "I'm going to live with Lily and Liam now. You should move into a care facility." I was speechless. Lily was his sister, and Liam was her husband. Suddenly, they all barged into the house like they owned it. "Why do I have to leave?" I asked. Mason looked at me coldly. "Because we're getting a divorce. I'm tired of being treated like a housekeeper. I want my share of everything." I stood there frozen as Lily laughed. "Poor Mason," she said with fake tears. "He's been suffering." Mason added, "I've put up with this for 2 years. I deserve something from the divorce. We'll split the house, starting today." Liam stood nearby, watching with a smirk. I finally understood. This was a plan. Maybe from the very beginning. Mason had used me. He knew I was older and couldn't have children. Maybe that's why he chose me. Because I was easy to control. He wanted the house, the money, the comfort. And now, he thought he'd take it all. But he was wrong. I didn't argue. I simply said, "Understood. I'll leave for now." I grabbed a suitcase, my laptop, and a few clothes. Mason handed me divorce papers like he was giving me a receipt. I took them without a word. I left behind the apartment, the one I had bought before our marriage. I didn't cry, not yet. I got in my car and drove away. I had a plan. They didn't know about the property I bought 2 years ago, a luxury care facility that doubled as a private resort. A place only wealthy members could live. I owned a unit there. Quiet. Secure. That night, I slept well for the first time in a long time. No sounds from Mason's games, no cold meals, just peace. I had brunch the next day, sitting outside with coffee and fresh air. Then I sent Mason a message. This is my location. My lawyer will handle everything else. Within minutes, he called. Where are you? He yelled. I calmly said, at my new home. Behind him, I heard Lily shouting, That's a private resort. How can you afford that? I replied, because I paid for it. I could almost feel their panic through the phone. They didn't know anything. I had never told Mason about this place. I bought it quietly, planning to move there when I got older. Now, it came in handy. The unit was worth over $2 million. It had its own kitchen, care services, and even a hospital nearby. That's your house. You can't charge rent, Mason shouted. I answered, You want to live there? Fine. Rent's $3,000 a month. Then I hung up. The silence after was sweet. But I knew they wouldn't give up easily. The next day, they showed up at the front desk of the facility. Uninvited. The front desk staff stopped them. This place was strict. No one gets in without permission. But I agreed to meet them, once. In the lobby, with staff nearby. Mason smiled like nothing happened. You should have told me about this place, Harper, he said. Yeah, why hide it? Lily added. I looked at them both and said, It doesn't matter now. We're divorced. Mason looked shocked. You filed it already? You gave me the papers, I reminded him. So yes, we're done. Lily's smile faded. Mason tried again. Let's get remarried then. We can work this out. I stood up. Number goodbye. They came to the facility every day after that, trying to see me. I got a restraining order. But they didn't stop. Then things turned ugly. Mason claimed I had tricked him into marriage by hiding my health condition. He threatened to call the police for marriage fraud. But I had recordings. Of his proposal, where he said he didn't care about kids, and of his promise to do housework. My lawyer sent everything. Mason looked shocked. Why would you record me? He asked. Habit, I said. I always record when something important happens. That habit turned out to be gold. After his first lie failed, Mason changed his story. She forced me to quit my job and do chores, he said. I had another recording, him saying, I'll quit my job to help you, Harper. Then he claimed emotional distress because I recorded him. But eavesdropping isn't a crime. Not if it's your own home. His lawyer tried everything. Nothing worked. Mason looked desperate. At least give me part of the house, he begged. I agreed to meet again. Leave the apartment while we assess everything, I said. He agreed. The moment they left, I listed the apartment for sale. The apartment sold quickly, thanks to high property prices. The total amount came to over $9 million. When Mason found out, he was thrilled. I get half, right? He asked. No, my lawyer replied. Most of it was earned before the marriage. You get a small part of the income after marriage, minus expenses. Mason's smile vanished. He was now the one owing money. Furious, he shouted, Why do I have to pay? My lawyer showed proof. Cheating, manipulation, and his attempt to use my health to get sympathy. He was caught. Even his online lover admitted it was all a trick. Yes, Mason had been cheating. The woman thought he was single and rich. He told her I was sick and might die soon. Then I'll get everything, he'd told her. The woman was scared and agreed to testify. I had the recording of her too. Mason sat quietly as she explained how he planned to get me to have a child, knowing it could kill me. He laughed when he said it, she added. The lawyer turned to Mason. Do you still want to fight this? Mason stayed silent. He had no more lies, no more tricks. He had lost. After that, Mason didn't speak much. He signed the final divorce papers with a shaky hand. Lily and Liam vanished from the picture, not because they were ashamed, but because there was nothing left to take. I sold the rest of the apartment's furniture and closed that chapter of my life. I moved fully into the luxury resort where I could live comfortably. I had peace, silence, and safety. Most importantly, I had control again. I had beaten them without yelling, without violence, just by staying calm, staying prepared. For once, I could look forward instead of constantly watching my back. A few weeks later, I received a letter, handwritten, from Mason. He begged me to forgive him, saying he didn't mean to hurt me. I was confused. I got greedy. He wrote. I didn't reply. I forwarded the letter to my lawyer, just in case. Then the calls started again. Harper, I miss you. Let's try again. As if I would ever fall for that again. I blocked the number. Then Lily called. We made a mistake, she whispered. We'll be good this time. It was laughable. I had already moved on. They were just panicking, grasping at what they had lost. I booked a cruise around the world, a full year on the sea, visiting different countries. I met people who were kind, interesting, and full of life. I made friends, learned about different cultures, and began to rediscover myself. For so long, I had shaped my days around Mason's moods. Now I shaped them around my dreams. I even met a man on board, smart, gentle, and respectful. He had a daughter, and the three of us got along like a little family. We weren't in love, not yet. But something about it felt peaceful. It reminded me what real happiness felt like. When I returned to my resort home, I was different, stronger, freer. I started trading again and made more money than ever. My mind was clear. Mason and the others had vanished. I heard they tried to rent out my old apartment but failed to pay rent and were evicted. Lily and Liam blamed Mason. Mason blamed everyone else. Typical. They ended up living in a shared apartment, struggling with debt. I didn't care. I didn't want revenge anymore. I had already won. Not through cruelty, but through power, patience, and quiet dignity. They were trapped in their own mess. I was free. Now I sit on my balcony with coffee in hand. The air is calm. The sun is warm on my face. I think about the past, but it doesn't haunt me. It reminds me of how far I've come. Mason once said I wasn't a real woman because I couldn't give him a child, but I gave myself a future. I chose not to break. I rebuilt. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. They thought they were taking everything from me, but they only freed me. I didn't lose my home. I found my peace. And that is everything.